Hi guys, Brittney from Head to Toe Spine and Sports Therapy. Here today to talk to you about stretching. I want to show you 6 stretches that you're probably doing wrong and the correct way to do them. Okay, first one I want to start with is the hip flexor stretch. Now, I think we all know by now we should stretch our hip flexors. Now I'm going to show you first the incorrect way, the way you probably do it yourself or you've seen other people do. Now this is usually what people do when they stretch their hip flexor. Now, in reality, what you really want to do is more like this. The reason is that the hip flexor actually connects up into your lumbar spine up here and then down here in the front of the hip joint. So if you lean over, you negate the whole stretch. So what you want to do is keep yourself nice and upright. You don't want to let your low back curve. You want to keep it nice and taut. So keeping your core nice and tight, just lean forward. You should feel a nice gentle stretch anywhere here in the front of the thigh. The second one is the quad stretch. Now a lot of times you'll see people just holding onto their leg and doing this and thinking they're stretching. Now, the quad actually goes from the hip bone all the way down around the knee onto the shin. So if I do this, I'm really not stretching it at all. What you need to do is pull the knee back and get it behind the thigh. This is a good quality stretch. Again, you don't want to let your back round and your pelvis fall forward. Keep it up nice and tight, core nice and tight, pull back. A nice tip is to actually use your muscles and use your glutes to pull your leg back. If I just use my arm and pull back, I'm probably going to go all crazy and rotated. You want to just use your muscles, pull your knee straight back. Okay. Next one, hamstring stretch. Now, there's about 18 ways to stretch your hamstrings. No matter what you do, sitting down, standing up, you can do just this one, you can sit down on the floor and reach your toes, both at the same time, that's fine. But the big key about it is a lot of times you see people stretching their hamstring and they're like this. Now, as soon as you round the low back, you're not actually stretching your hamstring. So the most effective way to stretch your hamstring, lock out the knee and bend at the hip. So you're going to hinge from the hip joint as opposed to folding forward from the low back. Another point is that pulling the toes up doesn't actually stretch the hamstring anymore. You might feel more of a stretch in the back of your knee, but that's because you're stretching your calf, which is fine. You can stretch your calf too, but it's most effective to pick one muscle group at a time instead of trying to stretch 2 at the same time. So actually having the foot flat, knee locked out straight, and then hinging from the hip. This is as far as I need to go to feel a stretch. You don't need to be all the way down here to be stretching well. Another thing is that if you just put your foot out here and stretch, you're actually not getting all the hamstring muscles. So you want to do kind of to each side as well as straight down the middle. The next one I want to talk about is shoulders. Now, we used to say that this is a really good shoulder stretch to do. Now we know that that's not true. It actually puts a lot of tension and a lot of pressure on the front of the shoulder joint, the capsule, the ligaments, the pec and bicep tendon. Now what you're most likely trying to stretch if you're stretching the front of your shoulder are the pec and the bicep. And those are actually 2 separate stretches that you can't do one stretch to get both. To stretch out the pec starts in the shoulder and then fans out over the chest and connects to the breastbone. So what you want to do is bend your elbow, have it a nice 90 degrees, and then turn away from your hand. This is what it looks like from the back. You should feel a gentle stretch in the front of the shoulder and the chest, but nothing pinching up here. Try not to let your shoulder fall down here. It needs to be up, but it can also be a little bit higher, whatever gets a better stretch for you. For the bicep, it starts up in the shoulder and goes down below the elbow. So what you want to do is straighten your arm out, but bring it lower, so you're not shoving the front of your shoulder forward, keeping it low, and just rotate away from it. You'll feel the stretch anywhere down this, the front of the arm there. Turn away. Palm forward. Turn away. The next one is for that neck and upper shoulder area. You get a lot of tension in here. A lot of people you see kind of doing this, or they'll pull forward. That's not really effective on the neck, and actually you really don't want to crank on your neck muscles. So one really effective stretch, especially if it's this area in particular, right up in here, that upper trap, you want to turn your nose away from the side you want to stretch and gently pull down. So what you want to do here is, one, you don't want to jut your chin forward and come this way. You want to really tuck it down and then gently use your hand to pull just a little bit more. Another thing, you don't want to let your shoulder come up as you come down. Really keep that shoulder down and just tuck the chin. With all these stretches, you want to hold at least 20 to 30 seconds. Always do both sides and do each one twice. The second time around is really where you get the lengthening and the benefits in the muscle. Alright guys, watch for more vlogs to come.